You don't have to teach children to sin. You don't have to teach children to be selfish or to have a tantrum when they don't get their way or to take what's not theirs or to lie or to disobey. They come by it naturally. They're born that way. We're born sinners. And so listen, we sin because we're sinners. We're not sinners because we sin. We sin because we're sinners. We were born sinners. That's why we sin. A person does not become a liar when they tell a lie. They lie because they're a liar. That's who they are. You know, in Matthew's gospel, Jesus talks about all of these things that are in us, murder and anger and hatred. They're just inside of us and they come out. They're just there. Look at verse 12 again. Death is spread to all mankind, to all men, because all sinned. Death is universal. 10 out of 10 people in this world die. It's universal. The Bible says the wages of sin is death. Ezekiel 18:4 says the person who sins shall die. We die because we have the sin nature from Adam. A person doesn't die because they have committed a specific sin. Please understand that. Babies die, children die, not because of a specific sin, but because we have this sin nature that we have inherited from Adam. We're under the curse. Now, how do we know that everyone has this sin nature from Adam? Because everyone dies. Death has spread to all men because all have sinned. If you think that you don't have this sin nature that I'm speaking of, then don't die. Let's see how long you make it. Another way to think of Adam is to think of Adam as representing all of the human race that descended from him. The Summer Olympics started this week in Paris, and I'm not going to talk about the opening, but for the Olympics, we send our best athletes to compete on behalf of the United States. They're not there just for themselves. They are representing the United States. And when a U.S. Olympic athlete wins a gold medal, we say, "We won the gold." Well, we didn't win the gold. That athlete won the gold. We didn't do anything but watched it on television. But we say we won because that athlete represents the United States of America. They represent the USA. And so that athlete represents us in the Olympics. We've sent our best. And they represent us collectively. And they compete on behalf of all of us that they are representing. And so when they win, we win. And when they lose, we lose. Well, Adam represents the entire human race that descended from him. He's like the best that we've sent, the best we can put forward. And so when Adam sinned, we all sinned. When he failed, we all failed, because he represents us. So look at verse 13. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed where there's no law. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over those who had not sinned, according to the likeness of the transgression of Adam, who is a type of him who was to come. People in the Old Testament that lived before the law of Moses was given at Mount Sinai, they sinned and they died as a result of their sin even though the law of Moses was not yet given. You know, you have the story of Cain and Abel in the book of Genesis. Cain slew Abel. He murdered Abel. In Genesis 6, we're told that the world became exceedingly wicked and filled with wickedness, and the hearts of men were set upon evil continually. Again, we saw earlier in Romans that we all have the law of God written on our heart. We have a conscience. And so people before the law sinned. Even without the law, they sinned and they died. They did not die because they broke the law of Moses. There was no law of Moses to break. They died because they had a sinful nature. They received from Adam. And so we see here in verse 14 that death reigned over man. Death was king is what that means. Death was king over man from Adam to Moses. Before the law was given, everybody died because of the sinful nature transferred from Adam to all the human race. Now look at the end of verse 14. It says that Adam is a type of him to come. Speaking of Jesus Christ, Adam is a type of Jesus Christ. This is why it's necessary for Adam to be a real, literal, historical person, because Adam is a type of Jesus Christ. And if during this study this morning you have had the thought, well, it's not really fair that Adam's sin nature is transferred to me. That's not fair. That because Adam sinned, now I have a sin nature and I'm subject to death because of the actions of Adam. That's not fair. I don't deserve that. Well, Adam is a type of Jesus Christ, so just hold on.